the CW is moving as fast as the Flash on getting some of these sporting events on their television station. I made jokes about it. I saw you make jokes about it. Last week you talked about, the Pac-12 being on gasstationtv.com, whatever. We are talking a lot about the CW and making fun of them getting ACC games.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they also have Live Golf that's paying them a crap load of money to televise Live Golf events. Joe, watch out, because I'm just going to tell you, they got to start somewhere. And what's crazy is a television station like the CW can come into, let's call it what it is, a Power 5 institution and start airing games. That's nothing to just sneeze at. I think that the CW and with this Saudi money might be coming for some jugulars.
So, first of all, let's get it out of the way. Yes, it's hilarious that they're in the CW.
It is hilarious.
We joked about it the whole offseason, and it's like, oh my God, you guys are on the channel that broadcasted The Flash and Green Arrow and all these stupid, terrible TV dramas.
But ABC does the same thing, though.
Yeah,
like ABC,
right.
Come on now.
Right. So move past the jokes. I do think that from somebody who works in media and works in broadcasting and has worked at other large media companies and been around a lot of people in this industry, I think that this is, as you're talking about, significant for both parties. One, it's significant for the ACC because what other conferences have multiple broadcasting, this many broadcasting partners? I know that there are conferences like the Big Ten that are going to be on NBC and CBS and all that, but they now have an extra added channel that their games are viewed on. They are not limited to their big matchups being on ESPN, the other games being put on the ACC network, which most people do not subscribe to. There is now extra exposure, and a free, easy, or not free, but easy to access channel like the CW is going to help them get more eyes. They're going to probably have a couple of games that they handpicked, where the matchups are going to feature ranked teams unexpectedly. Maybe Syracuse goes on a run and they end up playing Miami, and maybe Miami's having a really good, surprisingly good year, and that's a ranked-on-ranked matchup. They might have lucked out in getting some good games this upcoming season. All the games also might suck. I think the flip side of this, though, as you're talking about, the CW eventually could very well be a legitimate player in all of this.
How much is the Saudis paying for Live Golf to be televised on it, Joe?
Right. They are in a position to eventually go and get other conference games. If they were this easily able to go through Raycom and grab these games for the upcoming season, I wouldn't be shocked the upcoming year that they don't end up with some Big 12 games. Or I also think, and I have no sourcing on this, I'm just speculating, I also think we should look out for the possibility that the Pac-12 doesn't end up signing some type of deal with them.
Bingo. What if the CW goes and takes over the Pac-12?
One, that would be big for the CW because they'd have exclusive rights to an entire conference. I think this is a precursor to something. That's how I see it. I think this is a precursor.
I agree.
Test the waters, see the performance. It is getting more and more expensive to produce these TV shows. We're in the middle of a writer's strike, and they said, you know what, F it. We're going to go get the easiest thing to produce, which is a sporting event. We don't need to write anything. It writes itself.
Now, we had on Stephen Bishop, who is with Hollywood Swings, right? Hollywood Swing, Hollywood Bats,
Hollywood Swinging, I think.
Hollywood Swinging.
I should know this.
Yeah, Hollywood Swinging.
Company.
Well, they've only done one episode, but Hollywood Swinging, he played David Justice in Moneyball. And he talked about the writer's strike. Joe, they still got to fill their TV space with these ads that they have promised, right? What is the one place that you know that you will get eyeballs? Here's something that's crazy. Could you imagine, like you mentioned, like think about Boston College hosting Clemson. at 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning. And because Boston College sucks so bad, Clemson and Boston College are on the CW. Well, the problem with what people are not thinking about is what if you have Florida State and Miami that same weekend? What if it's at the same time as Clemson and Boston College? ESPN's going to take Miami and Florida State.
Yeah.
My whole point in all this is they got money that they're playing with now, and they got money that they're going to – if you don't think the Saudis are giving the CW millions and millions of dollars for this live golf thing and selling the advertisements and whatever, you're crazy. I'm going to say this, though. I'm scared about the Saudis in live golf and all this with CW because if they're going to start buying out chunks of college football, what else are they going to do when they start making money?
I don't want to go too far down the
I
know. Look, I know what you're saying, but here's just my only thought on this. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole because this is, in a way, it's kind of a conspiracy theory. But
it's not a conspiracy. Joe, live golf.
Wait, no, I'm not saying. Wait. I'm not calling you out. All I'm saying is that we don't know. But Josh Pate actually talked about this on his show, and he talked about it in reference in an article on.
By the way, hold on. Pate State. Hey, you say us go back and forth on Twitter?
Yes, I did. I did
All
see
right.
that.
Hey, Josh, how that tortoise have his mouth open?
Relax. My point is,
we had to talk. I had to talk about that because, dude, I mean, that was funny. Anyway,
but he brought up a really kind of funny but also interesting possibility where there is going to be an avenue for eventually, the Saudi Arabian backed investment fund to eventually dive into college football. No, he's not wrong. So that he broke it down really well. And it made a lot of sense where he was talking about how realistically it's going to be hard for them to buy into an NFL team, but they can buy into and also do whatever the hell they want without a salary cap if they fund NIL for a random college program. And this could be a way to do it. But I actually, one of the funniest parts about this, and I had this thought and I almost tweeted about it, and I'm bringing this to life now. I am kind of rooting for like Missouri to get just like the most ridiculous NIL budget and go on and win a national championship. Like, I don't know why, but the absurdity of it is just hilarious to me. The thought that some random school, like, I hope it's not like a blue blood. I hope it is like Indiana is funded with ridiculous amounts of money and they go on and on some crazy run because they have Saudi Arabian money.
It would be such a flex by the Saudi-backed group to do something like that.
That's why I wanted it to happen that way. Instead of it being Georgia, that's not fun.
Well, could you imagine if they did it for Syracuse in a big market like New York?
Syracuse is not in a big market. I'm sorry, I have to.
Well, no, but they're in the state. But they're in the state. Look, here's one thing that we got to know about college football. If you're in a big state, do you think that
I think Rutgers would be a better example.
Okay, Rutgers would be better. Okay, could you imagine if Rutgers started going off?
It would be hilarious because they're a joke.
It kind of wouldn't. It kind of wouldn't because anyway, I did not know that Pate State talked about that.
Go listen to that episode. I'll send it to you.
Okay, but hearing what you just said, this is what I heard. Knowing Josh was trying to break news without breaking it, meaning that he knew that this CW deal was coming. Now I know the last time we had corresponded with one another, he went down to Miami. What did he find out at Miami? Did Miami tell him that, hey man, we're about to have some games on the CW? And so if he said that, which I'd have to go back and listen to it. I did not hear it. It is interesting, but I think it's funny that the CW is getting these games, to be honest with you. I just think it's funny, but at the same time, it does make me nervous. All right.